Anthropic builds its most capable frontier AI model to date. It can write complex software, debug deep repository issues, and operate computer terminals autonomously. But if you try to sign up and use it today, you'll find the access doors completely locked. The company hasn't delayed the launch due to bugs or server capacity. They are intentionally withholding it. This release is a calculated signal to the global cybersecurity industry that defenders need a head start. For the last few years, models like Claude Opus 4.6 and GPT-4 competed primarily on conversational fluency. The goal was to build a smarter, more helpful chatbot that could answer questions and generate text. Claude Mythos Preview operates on a different axis entirely. By restricting this model, Anthropic is proving that the baseline definition of AI performance has moved. The exact same skills that make an AI a highly effective software engineer also make it a highly effective cyber attacker. This table outlines frontier AI benchmark metrics. Mythos Preview shows massive double-digit leaps over previous systems. On SWE Bench Verified, measuring real software issue resolution, Mythos jumps from Opus 4.6's 80.8% to 93.9%. On Terminal Bench 2.0, testing terminal execution, it jumps to 82%. These translate into continuous, autonomous workflows. Mythos can inspect code, write patches, run tests, read error outputs, and try again. It stays on a complex engineering problem without needing a human to prompt its next move. Anthropic did not feed Mythos explicit cyber-only training data to make it a hacking tool. The model got better at understanding complex logic, reading code, and planning multi-step actions. Its offensive security capabilities are simply a downstream byproduct of getting smarter overall. This creates a direct correlation. Systems built to autonomously build, test, and repair complex software inherently possess the exact skill set required to dismantle it. When Anthropic ran its internal security testing, they found Mythos could identify and exploit zero-day vulnerabilities, flaws previously unknown to the software developers, across every major operating system and browser. In an internal test requiring the AI to construct exploits for the Firefox browser, previous generation Opus 4.6 produced a working exploit exactly 2 times. Under the exact same conditions, Mythos generated working exploits 181 times. During these evaluations, Anthropic employees who had no elite security expertise simply asked the model to find remote code execution vulnerabilities. They could leave the prompt running overnight and wake up to fully functional exploits. This level of automated execution removes the years of specialized study previously required to discover deep system flaws. A single user with basic instructions can now deploy the analytical depth of an entire team of highly trained security researchers. To manage this massive increase in capability, access is entirely limited to a gated research initiative called Project Glasswing. The goal is to keep the model out of public API endpoints while giving software defenders a secure sandbox to map out vulnerabilities first. Anthropic launched the program alongside companies that maintain the backbone of global software infrastructure. Tech giants like Microsoft are using their early access to analyze their immense attack surfaces. Cloud providers like Google and AWS have also been brought in to run black box testing and evaluate potential weaknesses in their own server environments. Specialized security firms like CrowdStrike and Palo Alto Networks are using the model to automate internal red team assessments and endpoint hardening. These defensive teams assign the model to scan millions of lines of open source code, spot subtle bugs that survived years of human audits, and propose patches before external actors can exploit them. Project Glasswing manages Mythos as high-stakes strategic infrastructure. Access is strictly limited to organizations capable of securing and monitoring these frontier capabilities. We do have to view these claims with some skepticism. These benchmarks were run in Anthropic's own closed-loop testing environments. Some evaluations are sensitive to data memorization, and the company admitted to minor security process errors during the model's development. But even with those caveats, the timeline is incredibly tight. Anthropic estimates that the wider AI industry will produce models with comparable autonomous execution capabilities within roughly 6 to 18 months. Because offensive cyber capability scales naturally alongside general coding and reasoning improvements, competing labs won't even need to aim for these destructive traits. They will inevitably cross the same danger threshold just by trying to build better autonomous engineering assistants. Protecting digital infrastructure will soon require defensive systems that operate with the exact same automated persistence, patching networks at the same velocity that AI tools can attack them. The industry is prioritizing autonomous technical reliability. A model's primary value now lies in completing multi-step workflows in the real world without human supervision. Right now, if you listen closely to the chatter inside Silicon Valley, you keep hearing a single word: SPUD. It is reported to be the next major project from OpenAI. Yet, if you search their website, there is no product page. There are no benchmark tables, no launch announcements, and absolutely zero official specifications. That total silence is exactly why researchers and rival developers are obsessed with tracking it down. When a company this prominent locks something behind closed doors, the industry scrambles to decode what it means. The reporting behind this has been remarkably consistent, with outlets like The Information detailing internal leaks that elevated SPUD from a social media rumor to a serious industry story. According to those reports, CEO Sam Altman has told staff that a highly capable new system could be ready for release in the near future, setting off a wave of countdowns across social media. But the timeline gets complicated. President Greg Brockman has publicly discussed the project, framing it not as a quick update, but as the culmination of roughly 2 years of intensive research. No one outside the company actually knows the launch date, but these executive signals tell us something far more important than a release window. This is a major strategic pivot, and we need to look past the noise to see what is actually being built. Rebuilding the core intelligence from scratch with massive datasets creates a fresh architectural foundation. This avoids simple interface updates, instead supporting heavier cognitive loads to handle advanced reasoning, external tool use, and complex multimodal inputs like video and audio simultaneously. Because OpenAI has published no official benchmarks, we have to be careful. These projected leaps in performance are anticipated expectations from the engineering community rather than verified facts. Still, treating this as a foundational reset is the right way to think about it. A stronger base model permanently lifts the performance floor for every single application, coding tool, and digital assistant built on top of it. That higher performance floor changes how we interact with the technology. The goal is to move away from a passive chatbot that waits for your exact instructions and toward an active digital worker that can tackle broad objectives. This is what and even orchestrating smaller subagents to handle individual pieces of a larger task. To do that effectively, the system must reliably execute plans with a dozen different steps, course-correcting along the way without needing a human to constantly intervene. If SPUD functions as described, it becomes an underlying intelligence engine capable of finishing complex, multi-day professional projects. OpenAI is not the only company building towards this. Right now, Anthropic's Claude Opus 4.6 is the public standard-bearer for advanced orchestration and agentic workflows. This comparison matrix shows Opus 4.6's documented advantages on the left, including extended thinking and a 1 million token context window for processing hundreds of documents. With proven metrics, it represents the exact target OpenAI must hit and surpass with SPUD. This makes the impending arrival of this new model a high-stakes counteroffensive. It is a necessary move in an industry-wide race to build the definitive operating system for digital workers. In that context, the absolute secrecy surrounding the project is a deliberate strategic asset. It keeps the entire tech sector talking, while forcing competitors to guess at final benchmarks, hardware requirements, and pricing models. Beyond the secrecy, the specific technical goals leaked about SPUD, like long horizon planning and agentic behavior, indicate that OpenAI's priorities have shifted. The internal focus is no longer on making a chatbot more conversational, it is on making a model more capable of autonomous work. The new battleground is strictly focused on systems that handle rigorous logic, map out long-term plans, and carry out autonomous execution across vast networks. SPUD serves as a clear signal of where the frontier is heading. If these reports hold true, the focus for top-tier systems is moving away from generating text and toward finishing the work.